Hello, 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 YouTube. How are you? Let me just adjust this. Here we go. Okay, so while you guys are logging in, let me actually just grab. I feel like you guys need the sound bowl today too. We'll grab both. Okay, so while you guys are logging in, if you have no idea who I am, my name is Meshi. I am the person behind Aligned Soul. And we get together here every single week. I pull a few cards for you guys, and we kind of take a look at sort of like the week ahead. But also, so we're going to be kind of looking at that. And before we do, I generally kind of take a moment to get settled, create a quick little practice for you guys, because I think that it's very, very, here we go. I think it's very important that we sort of give ourselves that grace to just arrive wherever we are right this very moment before we kind of go into what is it that we need to kind of know about next week, what is kind of coming through. And our topic for today, as you probably could tell by the title of this live stream, is really going to be focusing on our week, but we're going to be focusing on money and freedom. What does that really mean to us? So quite a few things that kind of came through both in meditation and in my mindfulness practice today and in the past few days. So we'll do a little bit of a chat about that. And of course, first and foremost, if you have no idea who I am, I'm an intuitive. I'm also meditation teacher in the making. So hopefully in the next little bit, in the next few weeks, I will actually get my full certification so that I can actually guide and teach full time, which will be really amazing. So if you, this is fantastic. If you are brand new to meditation, if you've never tried it, if you're sort of open or you want to open up those channels, because you're on a spiritual path, whether you're using it for spirituality or simply for your own mental health, I think that it's fantastic, which is why I started using it with every single live stream, because I wanted you guys to kind of get accustomed to actually practicing, especially doing that on the Sunday when it just feels a little bit more easygoing, a little bit more free. It's a really good way of doing that. So while you guys are hopping on, a couple of like little housekeeping things. What did I want to tell you? So, especially when it comes to meditation, just make sure that you find a nice, comfortable position wherever you are. Ideally, it helps if you have your headphones on, but it's not really like necessary. And make sure that you're not going to be disturbed, at least for the next 10 minutes. Make sure that you're not going to be distracted, like the kids and everybody else is kind of out of the way. And once you find a nice, comfortable seated position, you can use your, if you have a meditation cushion, you're welcome to sit on that. If you don't, just sit in your seat, just sit in your chair. You can place your feet on the ground, or you can sit cross-legged, whatever works for you. And again, like it depends on your comfort level. You may want to just gaze in front of you, or if you feel comfortable, then you can also close your eyes when I prompt you to. So, having said all of that, I will kind of guide you through sort of how to set up your body, but let's just begin. And let me just move this over a little bit. Let's just begin with taking a few deep breaths through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So here we go. Let's do that one more time. And exhale. One last time. And exhale, sigh it out. I'm just going to make sure that you guys can actually hear me, because I have a feeling that my microphone is not the right one. I feel like it is, but sound. Perfect. I feel like it is the right one. So hopefully the sound is actually nice and clear. So let's take a deep breath together and sigh it out. And when you do, just gently close your eyes. If you're seated, you can have your legs. You can cross your legs, or you can just gently plant your feet on the ground. Keep your spine nice and upright, but not too upright that you're not actually creating tension within your spine. Gently tuck your chin in, relax the jaw, and you can rest your tongue at the roof of your mouth. And you can place your hands on your knees, on your thighs. And because we're going to be doing a rooting and a grounding exercise today, I would like you to keep your palm facing down. And we're just simply here checking in with the quality of your breath and with your breath and see how you're doing today. Also, take a moment to just check in with the quality of your breath. Can you follow the wave of your breath as it comes in and out? And where you feel it more prominently in your body? Perhaps you feel it in your abdomen or you feel it in your chest. Just make note of it. There's no need to change it, there's no need to make any adjustments. Just simply witnessing. Can you take a deep breath, a long breath, whatever that means for you today? Can you create softness and ease? And as you scan through the body, bring your awareness to heart center. And at first glance, does it feel expansive or does it feel restricted? I find taking a moment to really tune into the body, it will give you so much feedback of how you're doing in this present moment, but also it will give you feedback on where you're holding potential tension that you might not know you were holding before. Can you breathe into that space? Can you see your body like a solid tree that's laying down its roots? And with each breath, you're sending down those roots deeper and deeper into the earth. In knowing that whatever comes your way, you're going to be okay. You were built for this. Can you become stronger as the tree? In a moment, just follow the sound. Can you feel your tree getting stronger? Rooted deeper. Can you allow the sound to find you deep in your heart? Can you tune back into your breath again? Can you feel yourself breathing any differently than when you first sat down to practice today? And as you follow your breath, begin to bring your awareness back to the body and just gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And when you're ready, gently float your eyes open and make a commitment to bring this level of awareness with you for the rest of your day. And welcome back. If you were practicing with me, thank you. Here we go. So, as you're arriving, if you are arriving here live, hello, hello, how are you? If you're watching the replay, which I know most of you will likely do, I would love to know in the comments. So, if you're watching this on the replay, I would love to know in the comments if anything came up for you in that really short practice. And I apologize if there were any sounds that came in that wasn't supposed to. It's hard to control all areas. Make sure you're hydrating today, you guys. Make sure you're hydrating. I mean, I think you already know, but here we go. So let's talk about, before we pull some cards for the collective, And I'm just checking in with everybody else on text message as my whole family is lost out in the wilderness right now. So let's talk about what's happening for we're going to talk about in a moment what's happening for this week, but first I wanted to kind of talk to you just briefly about what was coming through and what I needed you guys to kind of know about what's happening for this week. So what's happening is there's going to be a more like a bigger focus on manifestation for some of you, and there's going to be it's kind of like you're invited to really look at manifestation basics. So um see how you're interacting with money, with your career, like what's happening in that front, and also see if there's any blocks or triggers that are coming up. I feel like for some of you, you're definitely going to be getting tested by the universe to see sort of how is that relationship with your current work. I feel like some of you are basically on the cusp of making that jump into something new. And I feel like for some of you, you're getting tested a lot. There's a lot of lack triggers that are coming through. Perhaps it could have something to do with what's happening globally. We're always going to be affected by, whatever is kind of coming through in the news. So just kind of keep that in mind. And whatever your emotions are around what's coming through the news is sort of like it's secondary, because what is kind of coming through is you need to learn how to kind of work with your own abundance or lack mindset. So it's sort of like we're kind of bringing back to the discernment for you personally. And I would invite you guys to spend a little bit of time next week to just really check in on where you are at. What areas are you trusting with your money mindset? What areas are you sitting in lack about? Because I don't think that, especially when it comes to money and when it comes to all of the things that money really represents to most of us, it's such a deep and entangled conversation, because it's sort of like you need to go deep down in the rabbit hole to kind of figure out what is my block, how can I untangle that block and release it and create clear space, and then I can kind of move forward. So just keep that in the back of your mind, that it's not going to be like this very linear conversation when it comes to your finances and when it comes to your abundance. And the other thing is, pay attention to who you are paying attention to. Who are you allowing to come into your space? So, right now, again, if you're watching this on the replay, then obviously you're paying attention to me. But I will always kind of tell you to pay attention to you. Don't pay attention to me. I'm only here to just kind of knock on your shoulders and say, hey, maybe pay attention to this area, but I'm not going to tell you what to do, because you're the only one that can really discern that for yourself. And unfortunately, not everything is built in a way that really empowers most of us. It's very much designed in a way for you to kind of be in the dark with a lot of the things that are kind of happening. So the more that you can kind of bring discernment into your space and into how you're doing, it's going to help you. The other thing is that it's sort of like, who are you allowing your guys to be? Who are you allowing into your space? Who are you inviting as someone that you kind of look up to? And are you still like bubbled up in the top 5 people that are in your life? And if that's true, who are those people? Who is really helping you? Is it a podcast? Is it a mentor? Is it a guide? Is it a coach? Or are you listening to your parents? Or are you listening to your partner? Or because keep in mind that every single one of those people are going to be bringing their own little baggage to the forefront, essentially. So just be very discerning. Ultimately, like what was kind of coming through is, be very discerning on what you allow and what you don't allow into your energetic space, especially when it comes to money. So it's sort of like, who are you listening to when they're giving you advice about crypto? Who are you listening to when they're giving you advice about investments? Is it coming from the internet, or is it coming from the bank? Like, who is it coming from? And be very discerning around that, because I feel like that's going to be an important piece for you. And okay, let's talk about this concept about freedom. I feel like there is this, it's almost like there is this underlying desire to, oh my gosh, like when will we have our freedom back? And the thing is that it's almost like anything and everything that is taking place right now, it's taking place in a way that you're sort of looking at it like, when will it get easier? When will it get lighter? When will the energy be lighter? And it's like, it's what comes through, especially from a mindfulness perspective, which is kind of why I love doing these lives, because it really gives me the opportunity to not only look at it from a perspective of what came through as a channel message, but then what can you do with it as a tangible everyday, like what can you do with it on an everyday basis? How can you kind of work with it, because these are blogs that's coming up as a collective, so that just means that it's not just for one person, it's coming up for multiple people. Basically what's coming through, honestly, especially when we're looking at mindfulness as like the base fundamental to teach you about how to really apply it to your day-to-day life, is really, again, it goes back to what are you consuming, right? Like who are you waiting for to come and save you? Because what's going to save you is this detachment to this idea that it needs to be different, that it should be different, it should be faster, it should be easier, we should be free, we should be. See, like the key thing here is should. And the longer that we as a collective associate with this idea that it should be different than what is, it keeps you very, very trapped and in a really limited space, because you're not leaving space for it to become what it actually is, and you're not really witnessing for both the positive things and the negative things that are simultaneously taking place. So just be very, again, it just like the underlying message of today's live is discernment. It absolutely is, because if you're still waiting for, so on a global level, if you're waiting for certain things to end, if you're waiting for abundance to come in, if you're waiting for the economy to be different, if you're waiting, it's like, why are you waiting? If you're waiting for you to start making shifts and adjustments into your day-to-day life for you to see the blessings that already exist within your life, why is that? Why is that? And that's such a hard thing to hear, because it's like we're really truly faced with, oh my God, like I could have just paid attention to it right now. But that's so hard. I'm waiting for the perfect circumstance. And I've seen this play out within resistance that I see from people that are wanting to learn about meditation. And I'm just using that as an easy example because that's what I'm going to be teaching. It's like, when will my thoughts stop racing? And it's like, well, if you never practice, like how will it ever give it a chance for you to learn how how it will like slow down the stream? Like I don't know what to tell you. But it's like this attachment that it should be different and it should be easier. And these unrealistic expectations really keeps most of us trapped in this idea that it should be different than what it actually is. And it's not, and that statement does not disregard the suffering that is taking place. It does not disregard the heartbreak. It does not disregard any of the horrible things that are taking place. But unfortunately, the more you're focusing on that, the more you're not leaving space for you to pay attention to all of these blessings that are also taking place simultaneously. They both exist simultaneously, which I mentioned a lot before, but it's such a, like this massive concept to really undertake. And the best way that I know how to illustrate it is by showing you real life examples of what's taking place, and then really show you and help you shift so that you're not giving all of your energy away, because that's kind of what this live is about today. It's really about discernment, practicing, allowing you to really go within and find your own like North Star, because you all have it. Every single one of us have it, but we don't create space and we don't prioritize why we should create space to even find it. We keep like looking out of, well, somebody will come and tell me. Somebody will come and save me. But like what if they don't? What if like everybody's out for themselves? Like there is a level of selfishness that exists in all of us, and there's a reason for it, because we're all after survival. So I just want you to kind of like really learn and discern for yourself that that's kind of what's happening. And then again, we're on to boundaries. Boundaries is going to be huge for you guys this week. It absolutely is. And this is just like, this is me without actually pulling for the collective. This is literally just all of the channel messages that came through. Boundaries come up over and over and over and again because you guys are going to be, as a collective, we're all getting tested on boundaries, on what is a yes, what is a no, what is a maybe, where can we wiggle, what is there wiggle room. Basically what's true, where you are called, you need to, where you are being called Are you being called out to kind of pay attention to something? Or are you being called to do something? Are you being activated? I think that a lot of you light workers are absolutely being activated right now. If you haven't, I'm just seeing a lot of, even like within the conspiracy theory and like with people that are like posting about that stuff. I'm just like, yeah, you guys are really, it's like we're really remixing stuff that we said like, I don't know, 2 years ago. So there's a lot of repetition that's happening because we're keep on activating more people to kind of step up and really shine. I'm also seeing that a lot of you are getting very triggered. And again, it kind of goes back to this whole idea of money, survival, freedom. And maybe you're going to be feeling that energy as we're moving out of the full moon. I mean, the full moon energy is still going to be pretty potent and it's still very much here. We're also, today is spring equinox. So like there's like this huge shift that is happening. It's almost like when you're looking at the hangman, when we're just like really like looking at it from upside down. And also, like, I think that for a lot of you, you're going to be really reviewing what's happening within your work. And you're going to be really looking at what I just kind of mentioned. Like, you're being called out. Some of you are being really motivated, where you're really like driven, and it's like, "Ugh, it's go time." And some of you are going to be like, I don't think what I do resonates anymore. I don't think it aligns with who I'm becoming or who I want to become or who my highest self is asking me to become. You know what I mean? I think that for a lot of you, that path is becoming a lot more clear. So there's a lot of like discomfort. It's almost like growing pains. Like there's a lot of discomfort within that. So for this week, the three main things that came through before I pull a card is consciously choose what you want to create, which kind of goes back to what I just mentioned earlier, and write your own abundance story. This whole thing with money and this romanticizing money, it really is just romanticizing the life that you want to create and use the money to place that as a tool to really work for you. Don't be scared of it. Create like a really good, beautiful friendship and relationship with it rather than looking at it like it's your enemy. And write your own best life story. I think that for a lot of you, you're going to be doing a lot of journaling. You're going to be doing a lot of inner processing. I feel like with all of the shifts, with the more light coming in, with the spring, um, with really the beginning of spring, with all of these shifts, and you're probably seeing that within the weather as well. I want you to be aware of all of that rather than just ignore it. You're probably going to need a lot more rest. So please honor your body. You're going to need a lot more water. Absolutely. So please hydrate. So all of these things in mind, let's see what energy you guys are going to be tapping into. I feel like there was a lot of channel messages today. There was a lot to be said. We have yellow and hunger. Use that hunger. Use that hunger in multiple ways. What are you hungry for? Right? What are you wanting to really, what are you yearning for? What do you want to create? But like really, what does that life really look like for you? I think that for a long time we were actually scared to even think about that, to be honest, because we were just sort of like, this is all that exists, and that's about it. Okay, let's see what else is coming up for the collective, please. What is coming up for the collective? And then we have release. And isn't that beautiful? Again, we're shifting. Like there's that shift in the fall when the leaves are being released. And it's like they return back to the earth, right? So kind of take a look at what needs to be released. What are you, I feel like for some of you, especially within your work, you're really grasping on, it's almost like you're grasping on for like dear life. You're grasping on for things to be saved and for things to become easier so you can finally live your best life. It's almost like you're waiting on permission, like I will be able to do all of those things when, and I'm just kind of getting like this huge to-do list of like, like creating all those limitations instead of really like just don't distract yourself from the work that you need to do to clear out the actual blocks, not the blocks, like not the distraction blocks. Clear out the real blocks, please, because it's like when you do, like I just wish that you would see the way that I see it, where you become absolutely unstoppable. Like I wish that you would see that vision of that version of you that truly steps into its power, right? Like please give yourself the opportunity to do that rather than just waiting for someone or something or some external force or a government official or anyone to really come and kind of help you do that, because that's, it may not happen, right? It may not happen because it just might not. And don't live an unfulfilled life because of it. What did I tell you? I can't even make this up. The Hierophant, it's it's like it's basically it's all about connecting to both ends and really making a commitment to going within, where you can find your own discernment, where you can create your own boundaries, and when you understand why you cannot be so open for everything and everyone should not have access to you at all times, because not everybody is going to be respecting those boundaries. You're not for everybody, you're only for a select few, and that's totally okay. So be okay with releasing the people, releasing the job, releasing the expectation that it should be different, because I'm telling you, through that you're clearing space for what actually needs to come in, and that's going to be so much better. It just is. I also had one request. Now that I talked to you for like an hour, I also had one request for Sarah. So Sarah, if you're watching this, this is for you. I promised that I would pull a card for you, and let me just change up my deck because I like that one. What's the card that I was using? Grabbed it. Here we go. We were also placing a focus on primarily on relationships over the weekend. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I might, okay, you guys can tell me in the comments if you're watching this on a replay, but I might play around with doing like a screen thing where you can see all my handles. That would be, I think that would be kind of cool. Okay, Sarah, what do you need to know? What do you need to release this full moon, please? What do you need to release? What do you need to release this full moon? And if you're just joining me live, I'm just pulling cards for what's happening for next week for the collective, but also what is it that you need to know energetically for this coming week? Because it's a beautiful Sunday, why not? Okay, Sarah, let's see what you need to know. Oh my goodness. So if you're watching this on a replay, this will blow your mind. We have hunger. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say. I need to release stress over my vacation plans. If you know what's funny, Mark, if you watch the replay of this, my focus for today's live was actually all about money and freedom, and primarily money as in what's happening within abundance, when will we gain our freedom, and like that's sort of the theme of today's read. So it's interesting that you mentioned that there's stress around, there should never be stress around vacation. It should flow. So don't stress about it. Okay. Ooh. All right, Sarah, this is for you, girl. First we have hunger, then we have the Seven of Swords. So there's this idea that I feel like what you need to really release when it comes to this full moon energy is this idea that it's almost like this yearning, this really grasping energy, this really, it's almost like this idea that like you need to work extra hard for you to, or you need to be really loud for you to be truly be seen for who you are. And then also there's also this fear around almost attracting drama, but then also this fear that somebody will take something from you. Like if you invite someone into your space, then somebody will take something from you that they did not have permission to take. Hello, hello. If you're joining me live, how are you? We're doing a live reading. We're pulling a card. If you would like me to pull a card for you for next week, then please leave your name in the chat. So this idea of being swept away, but then also it's almost like this fear of intimacy, but at the same time, to me, this is also it's so much more than just a fear of intimacy. It's a lot more. It has a lot more to do with the fear of putting up boundaries, because then you're scared that they will not accept you for who you are. So there's like this deep yearning of like, can they please see me for the shining light that I am? And to be honest, like the answer is relatively simple. If you are in your true essence and you're vibrating at the level of frequency that feels aligned for you, then you are basically like a magnet to that energy. So if the moment that you start lowering or dimming that energy, then things shift, and then that's sort of when you can invite more lower entities, lower energy, lower frequency energies essentially. So don't be scared to do the inner work and really tap back into what is it that I need to shift within me to have the trust within me to know that I can handle it and I'm actually attracting the right person. So that would be sort of my thing. But honestly, release this idea of yearning and release this idea of fear that somebody that will come in will not be the right person for you. Okay, who is next? Okay, hopefully I'm not butchering your name. It's Surabhi. Surabhi, you're next. And I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Mine gets butchered all the time. So I totally know the feeling. Let's take a look at, again, if you're joining me live, hello, hello. Also watch, like after the live stream, you guys, watch the actual recording, because our focus this week is all about money, your career, and about freedom. So like it all kind of ties in. So it's just kind of funny that you were asking about a job. Okay, actually, let me switch the card. So let's take a look at what you need to know when it comes to job, money, all the things. What do we need to know? What can help you for next week? Let's see. What do we need to know for next week? When it comes to job, when it comes to career. Here we go. First, we're going to start with openness. And to me, I feel like where you are right now energetically, I feel like you've done a lot of releasing. That's what it feels like right now. It feels like you have done a lot of inner work where you're basically primed to receive. But right now, what's happening is you're also being tested. And the only way through is through. So because we also have the Knight of Cups, so emotionally this might be like really triggering for you, but you also have to trust that when you lean in, so it's almost like recalibrating your energy in a way where you can pick up the most momentum, which is totally up to you if you choose to do that or not. So it's sort of like, okay, will I play it safe or will I kind of just lean in, and then that little bit of momentum can actually pick up significant speed. But it starts with what you need to kind of lean into right now is opening up, almost like looking at things from like a different perspective. Like, So instead of doing the same old what you've always done, to you're really being invited to trust, to have faith, and not only in the process, but more importantly, have faith in you first. Before you have faith in the system, before you have faith in that a job is coming, you have to feel that this is coming in. So it starts with the energetics first, and then it can come through in physical form. So maybe it's, having that fear of like, ooh, like, should I talk to that person? Maybe they have that connection. Or reaching out to that company to kind of check in and see if they've received your resume, or see how you can contribute in a way that they didn't even think that you could contribute. It's whatever that next step is, you need to lean into it with full faith of what you bring to the table. Because especially when we're kind of leaving it up to the outside world of, well, when will, it's sort of like asking like, when will I be good enough? And the thing is, like, you're good enough right now. Like, you have to know where you are energetically right now, that what you bring to the table nobody else does. Like, nobody else does. And when you have that level of conviction, like, I can just tell you this as a business owner, if somebody comes to me and says, you know what, I have something that most people will never even almost consider talking to you about, or I've done my research within this industry, and here's where your gaps are, and I'm here to come and fix it. The moment that somebody comes and talks to me about my business that way, where they really want to contribute, making it better, it, to me, that just sounds like, oh my God, I want to hire that person, and I want to hire that person and then pay them even more than what they were expecting. So you have to kind of think of it from almost like put on the other hat, like put on the hat of like the other side of the business owner. There's always a need that needs to be filled. And that's sort of when that openness comes in of, can you open up to the possibilities? And I mean, being open could just be being more receptive of receiving something that you didn't think that you would get. Or being open could also mean that you look at it from a different angle than you did before. But definitely, I see that things are going to be picking up speed, but you need to lean into your faith, and you need to lean in to you first. You have to feel it energetically that it's already done. Even asking about it, it's already done. But you have to put it into, it's not so much saying it, it's more like you have to feel it. What will it feel like for you to wake up every morning at 8:30 and go into that office? What will it feel like, to put on that suit, or to be in that role? How will that feel? And tap into that every single day without a fail. Again, see, like, aura, love, but love as in, you need to lean into your you first, and you need to see your own worth first before others can kind of recognize it. Because if we're doing it the other way around, then we're always going to be sitting around waiting for somebody to come and save us. And again, like, watch the replay of this, because at the beginning I talked a lot about all of the channel messages that kind of came through when it comes to stop waiting for other people to come and save you. Stop waiting for like this external thing to come in to change your circumstances. You have to kind of pivot and shift and change with how the flow is going. And when you get into that flow, it starts from you first. So hopefully that has helped you, but tune in next week and let me know how it goes, because I'm super curious now. Now I'm intrigued. But this is basically all I have for you guys. If you like these live readings and you want to tune into every single week of absolutely leaning into imagining yourself being successful, I think that it starts with visualization, and it's seeing you as a version of you, because knowing that that version of you already exists, and you're just basically tapping into that energy frequency for you to really manifest it and realize it. So a lot of it with manifestation has a lot more to do with being the energetic match and then taking action from that space, but it starts from you first, and you need to clear out the blocks that are standing in the way, which a lot of times we create the blocks, and that could be past trauma, that could be insecurity, that could be a number of things. So this inner work is always sort of an invitation to, can you clear the blocks? Because then you can have an awesome life if you do. And if you don't, then you're always going to be making the same mistakes. So set your timer, you guys. I think I really like this 1:30 time frame. And I think that we will be hanging out here every Sunday. I really like tuning into not only the channel messages that came through, but we're going to be working with new moon, full moon, and of course, whatever is sort of the theme for the next week. And you can also catch me live on Instagram. Actually, I wonder if I can just link. I will link my Instagram here. Sometimes I just find it's like a million times easier to, but you can find me as I am aligned soul. So here I will link it here in the chat if you're watching it as a replay. So you can also follow me there. I do an Instagram live every single Friday at 4:30. So catch me there, or you can catch me here on YouTube live. Now I really like this time, the 1:30. So, but if you can't catch me live on the community tab, you can always just leave your name and you can ask a question, and then I can do my best to actually pull a card for you if you're interested. And of course, we always start with a practice. And I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, we can also start offering guided meditations practices on a regular basis. So keep an eye out for that. And if you have joined me live, I hope that you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys again next week. Bye.